We've all at some point come to a place in our lives where we have been confronted with a great guy, a good guy, a guy we should run away with. We should literally take his hand and run away and steal him from every other woman in the world because he's such a good guy. But found ourselves wondering if he was the right guy. So in this video, I'm going to be helping you deal with the dilemma of who to choose. What is the difference between a good guy and the right guy? And how do we eventually make that decision? I will see you on the other side. Hello and welcome. My name is Chengi. I am your dating and relationship expert here at the Black Swan Relationship Academy, where we teach you ladies how to date like a high value, high status and high worth woman, and how to be in your relationship, your marriage, in exactly the same way so that you can have the most irresistible relationship and partner, of course. So today, let's get into the topic. What are the 5 points that I'm going to give you today that will really help us decipher and figure out the difference between a good guy and a nice guy? Let's get clear on some definitions. A good guy is often somebody that society or your family or people or some sort of conditioning that you've had says is a good guy. Often he's somebody with certain qualities that are deemed to be good, and most probably are. He's probably honest, he's kind, he's thoughtful, he's considerate. These are good qualities in a man. And these are qualities that we should be seeking out in a relationship always, whether he is a good guy or the right guy. These are qualities that we should have, a good man with good morals, with good standards. But we have to also understand the fact that we're not here to just choose a good guy. We're here for somebody who can be an adequate purpose mate. In order for that to be the case, there needs to be a hell of a lot of self-awareness that starts, of course, with yourself, getting to know you better, getting to understand your purpose, your assignment in this life, at this time in your life, even if you don't have the big picture, who you really truly are, your dark side, your light side, those parts of you that you're ashamed of, parts of you that you would rather hide. Can this person who is good live with your shadow? Can they live with your light, even if you are great at managing them? Can this person walk with you, fit into your world? All of these things are really important. And just choosing on the surface whether this guy is a good guy or, it doesn't necessarily mean that that good guy is the right guy for you. So we're just going to continue to explore this topic as we go along. Number one, does this good guy align with your values? Does this good guy align with your priorities? Does this good guy align with your individuality? So if, of course, you're part of the Black Swan Relationship Academy, you would have done the Soulmate Attraction System course, you would have done some of the courses, and you would have been developing your core needs, your non-negotiables, your desirables, done videos on this channel covering all of that. But definitely for sure, if you are a Black Swan, you would have done the Soulmate Attraction System course where it would have delved deep into who you are, understood your assignment, and then gone forward. When you've done that work, and maybe you haven't had a chance to do the soulmate, or maybe you can't afford it, or maybe you don't want to do it, but where it starts is who are you as an individual? Clearly, if you're watching this channel, you're a good woman. We can take that to the bank because most of my Black Swans, if not all of them, are good-hearted, good-nurtured, well-meaning women. And so we know you're good, but who are you when you are not being what everybody needs you to be? Because this person that you're choosing has to see you in every shade. Understanding whether this man has got great traits. I went on a date with this guy. Honestly, I just wanted to literally, hang myself and beat myself all day, flog myself literally for not choosing this guy, because I cannot tell you how amazing he was. He was a man who was into personal development. Tick. He was a man who held himself accountable. Tick, tick. He was a gentleman. He was romantic. He was attentive. I mean, what did God have to do here? I mean, less of short of being an angel, he was fantastic. But he wasn't right. He wasn't right for my lifestyle. He wasn't right for my purpose. He had, a whole set of situations and circumstances. He had children in different parts of the country that he would have to visit every single week and pick them up from one part of the country to another part of the country in order to spend the weekend with them. He was always on the road. He lived miles away. So that wasn't compatible with me because we can't both be that busy. And for me, I knew and I could see up ahead that all of this effort he was making was not going to be sustainable moving forward, because I know myself. I know that I'm the kind of woman that needs attention. I need my husband, my man, to be attentive, to be present, to be there. And I'm not talking about him crowding me. I'm talking about that energetic presence. And I knew that it wouldn't work with me having my son, him having his children, driving all over the place. That wasn't the right match. So when you look at your lifestyle and you look at your values, is this good guy going to fit? Is he really going to fit? Because if he isn't, he's not the right guy for you. Point number 2. So let's talk about long-term goals. If you've done the Soulmate Attraction System course, you would have worked on your goals, short-term, long-term goals. This is so important because sometimes there's a good guy, he's at a place in his life where he wants to see the world. He wants to do amazing things with you, this one great woman, but he's just not ready to settle down and get married. He's not ready to create and build something in a more stable scenario. He's a good guy. He will be great. He will take you all over the world. He'll be kind to you. He'll be thoughtful. He'll be considerate. But your long-term goal right now is to be a wife and a mother. And you could think, well, maybe I could persuade him differently. But when we try to persuade a good guy to fit into our long-term goals and he's just not on that trajectory, that is not why he's here. He wants to maybe spend some time dating. Maybe in his head, he's working on a 2-3 year clock of dating, traveling. And then maybe he will consider marriage and you are at a place in your life where you're like, hello, I need to have my babies now because time is ticking, or, this is something I want to do and be done with in the next 10 years so that I can move on to the next part of my life. If your long-term goals do not match, if your long-term plan for your life does not match, often what we do as women is we abandon the long-term plan and say, well, he's a good man, so he's more important than my long-term plans, until we realize that we're self-abandoning. After a while, we start to resent him. After a while, he's not such a good guy anymore because I had to give up what I really wanted from my life in order to be with you. So we definitely don't want to do this. We have to understand that good guys don't always make the right guys, especially when we're Black Swan and we've mapped out the reality of our lives as best as we can with the flexibility that comes with being a mature person. I want to thank you so much for your support of this channel. You mean the world to me, and I am so grateful that your likes, your subscriptions, your comments make this work possible. I'd really want to encourage you, before you go any further, if you are enjoying this content, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with somebody that you know will absolutely benefit, because you're changing not only your life, not only the life of your friends, but the lives of women all over the world and children in ways you cannot even begin to imagine. So don't forget, before we get back to the program, to hit that like button and share, subscribe, and comment. Thank you. The next one is emotional connection versus surface connection. Okay, well, surface level traits. Usually when we are seeing a good guy, we often don't ask ourselves, do I have an emotional connection to this man? Do I resonate at the same frequency as this man? Do we actually have that resonance? And it was exactly the same story with the gentleman I told you about earlier. Yes, he was amazing. Yes, he was a gentleman in every way, shape, or form. I mean, a breath of fresh air. Amazing, good looking. Everything about him just said yes, yes, yes. But I noticed that I didn't have an emotional connection. This wasn't about physical chemistry. There was no point where we engaged on the same frequency. He was always on another frequency. I was on another frequency. We were saying stuff, but we were not saying the same things. It felt discorded. And I definitely don't believe in ignoring those things. So many times we're told, oh, don't be silly. It's a small thing. You can work it out. There is no such thing as a small thing, especially when it comes to energy. Do you know that what creates an earthquake is a small move of the tectonic plates? Tiny move can create horrible disasters. Tiny energetic signals are huge when it comes to a relationship, because often we are receiving information on a more deeper energetic level and we ignore it because we don't think, because it's tangible, that it's real. But what happens is it starts to unfold over the years where you realize, this guy and I have nothing to talk about. We can't sit and talk all night. We are strangers. And all I have is, he's a good guy. Okay, I'm not disqualifying a good guy, but I'm saying that he needs to be the right guy. The next point is, can this man fit into your world? He might be a great guy, but can he fit into your family? Can he fit into your circle of friends? Can he fit into the world that you belong in? Again, let's use my example of great guy, good guy, number one that came into my life. I knew that he wouldn't fit into my lifestyle. His idea of a good time was party, party, party. He loved a good party. He loved good music. I am not that girl. I'm more of a dinner party girl. He sees himself with his friends and he's got this kind of different lifestyle, but I knew that he wouldn't fit into my world. And in my world where people are thinkers and they're deep people, he would feel like a fish out of water. So it was really important that he could not just fit into this moment and just be this good guy that I care about deeply, but that he could also sit amongst the kings and queens that I call friends. The people that I call friends are thinkers. They're deep people. They're people of stature, authority, and prominence. And so I needed to know that if he couldn't hold a conversation with me at a level that for me was very primary, because I can go really deep with my friends. So on a date, I'm really just being shallow. I'm keeping it simple. And we couldn't quite converse even on the simple stuff. I knew that he would have a hard time fitting into my friends. And whilst they would receive him and love him and welcome him, because my friends will love anybody that I introduce to them because they trust my judgment, he would feel uncomfortable in the world that is mine. And sometimes we don't consider that this good guy might not be compatible. And maybe it might be the other way around. Maybe he's a good guy and your family are wild and your friends are wild and everybody is wild. And this guy is going to feel like a fish out of water. So we have to consider that when we're deciding between a good guy and the right guy. Finally, this is something that we definitely hear a lot about not paying attention to because it's somewhat frivolous. But I'm going to say it anyway because I know that Black Swans understand the gravity of what's important. But I want us to know that prioritizing your happiness is important. Take it from me. I've spent a lot of my life, a lot of it, if not all of it, choosing men that made sense, that made perfect sense on paper. I could sell it to anyone who had the ears to hear, never giving myself a chance to actually prioritize whether I can be happy with this person. My happiness didn't seem to matter because I'm more of a stoic personality. I'm more about doing the right thing all the time as much as possible because it yields fruit, and it definitely does. I'm about a disciplined lifestyle, things that make sense, okay? Sometimes a little bit too masculine, but I make a lot of decisions on what is right. And I have met some amazing, amazing men in my life who are just amazing and engaged in relationships with them or dated them only to realize that I was desperately, hopelessly unhappy. I was depressed. I was sad. And that's mainly because of all the other points that I've ignored, that I've spoken to you about today. Those areas of compatibility that were not in check. feeling isolated with this great guy, but feeling lost in that moment because I've never really thought my happiness mattered. The thing about getting older is you start to think about that. And when you're young, you're probably preoccupied with, will he give me a family? Will we be able to settle down? Will he marry me? Will we create a family together? And those are important priorities. But as you get older, you want somebody that you like. You want somebody you enjoy their company. You enjoy sitting with them and bantering with them. You like them. You like them in a non-sexual way. You enjoy them in a non-sexual way. You smile when they walk through the door because everything about them gives you joy. Does that mean that you're going to be happy all the time in a relationship? Of course not. We're not going to be happy all the time, but we need to know that we have the quality in a partner where we can, if we're intentional, spark that flame again because it was there in the first place. If it wasn't then the dating phase, it's just not going to show up miraculously after a long-term relationship or within a long-term relationship. So it's really important to be stoic if you're stoic like me, and to do the right thing and to choose a good mate. Never ever ignoring that your happiness matters, your joy matters. That is the oil that keeps everything running. When you are joyful, feeling content and satisfied in that relationship, then that matters too. And so I hope I've made it clear that choosing the right guy is fantastic. It's important. It's got to be done. But it cannot be the only criterion. It cannot be the only thing you are judging on. You have other things to consider. And sometimes, just sometimes, I know good men are rare, I know. But when you're a black swan, you live in a place of abundance. You believe that there is more than enough. And for you, Black Swan, there are a lot of good men out here. And you don't have to settle for the first good one, the first noble one. You can give yourself an opportunity to vet him, select him, spend more time, but also recognize that you have every right to find love with somebody else. That a good man can come into your life and you can find love. I hope that this video was helpful. I will see you on a discovery call or with our coaches. Book a call. Let's talk about it. Let's help you out in your decision-making process. In the meantime, do take care of you. Love you lots.
Simple steps to join Black Swan community. Download the Black Swan app from either Google Play Store or Apple Store. Launch the app and tap on register. Put in your valid information, then tap on continue. Put in the verification code sent to your email to authenticate your account. Then log into your account. Be sure to accept all permissions displayed at installation stage to enjoy all the cool features in the app. You can now enjoy community of high-value women with support from coaches and trainers. Book calls with coaches, chat, post, and interact with the community. Enjoy!